Thank you everyone for tuning into Soundscapes Talks. I'm sitting here with Mannheim's very best Ashy, formerly Ashy Cartell. He's a rapper from this area, went to the Pop Academy. Yeah, he's a really dope dude. He's riding a wavelength I think not many people are riding. And I really respect his way about going everything regarding his music.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm fine. I have to say, I am fine. I'm not struggling as much as a lot of other people do during this crisis, I guess, because I'm still like a student at university, and I'm still blessed enough to get money from my parents, and also I have like a credit thing going on for students, so I'm not like struggling to buy food or anything. But I mean, everybody's a little attacked, I guess.
No worries.
I say psychologically by a crisis like this, especially if you're like in an age that we're in, where you're supposed to be like going out, like meeting the world, meeting new people, finding new places, and you're pretty stuck at home. I mean, it attacks your head, I guess, and I can feel that more than last year. It gets worse. But I'm still okay, I guess.
Now it feels like there's a little bit of like a psychological warfare going on at the individual level.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, and it's difficult. A lot of people are also trapped in it, and they're trying to also like go back to the old ways.
Which is never gonna happen. Never. There's no old anymore. You cannot go back.
All right. So what do you mean by that?
I feel like we experienced so many things in the past like 18 months or whatever it is. No, it's not even that. It's like 14 or
yeah.
I don't feel like you're able to go back. You can find a new normal, and you can maybe like adjust to it, and you can, but I don't think you can go back to a mindset and also to behavior that we had before this crisis. I mean, a lot of people were forced to meet themselves, like to really spend time with themselves and to get to know themselves. And I don't think you can like just push that away. Most of the people, I guess, should be or are on another level of self experience and knowledge about who they are. So I think that has an impact on the world, especially in our generation.
Yeah. That's actually a very solid point. But sometimes it feels like with this whole Corona thing, it's we also are so social media driven.
Oh yeah.
Where it's almost becomes a little bit egocentric sometimes. And yeah, I find that a little bit difficult. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting time. What do you sort of see it being in the future? Once this all passes by?
I have the hope that we are gonna appreciate life more and appreciate the things that are not working right now, that are going to be working again, like meeting people, having new friendships, having relationships, meeting with a lot of people, spending time with people you like. And also I hope, and I also hope that for myself, this is a goal that I have for myself, to not get back into the cycle of like producing, doing stuff like next thing, always like trapped in this circle. I hope that I can keep the view, the kind of broader view on life and on the world, and I hope that that people out there are gonna keep this view and not gonna get right back into like working and hustling and just harder, stronger, faster type of view, but like to step back a little bit and to maybe like in German there's this word entschleunigen,
okay,
which means like to take the speed out of something, and I hope that people are going to be able to do that with their life.
Yeah,
because I feel that's way more healthy. Also for me, I have when the whole pandemic began, I was really feeling that I was so stuck or like so focused on like growing and doing the next thing and like growing as an artist and as a human being, that when I finished my bachelor thesis recently, I fell into like a hole because there was nothing, no next goal I could go after, because like the world is kind of still in pause mode. And then I realized that I was so focused that I didn't really like took that much care of myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a big problem that all of the world exists all over the world. And I hope that after this crisis, people are going to still be in the mindset to take care of themselves.
Yeah, instead of slipping into the old patterns and everything.
Exactly.
That sounds more like you're seeing it as like the world's just gonna take out the speed, reduce the amount of production, which I think in turn could actually result in better quality, instead of the quantity thing. That's sort of like to build upon your idea. That's sort of like how I see it. Is there's going to be much more quality that's going to come out of this if people don't slip back into the old ways.
So that's the danger of things.
Yeah. It's difficult also out there. It's because especially in today's time, like it was always about producing, always getting your face somewhere, always putting up your music somewhere, and that was how you would grow through that whole quantity thing. But now we've also been put into a situation where a lot of creators have to take a unique approach. Yeah,
definitely. And I it's so easy to slip into the old patterns. I see that with myself so many times. Many times how often I tell myself I'm not gonna spend too much time on social media, and it holds it takes like 2 or 3 days and I'm back into it. But you have to also. I feel like I am very bad at it. But I have to see like the slow progress, which is if I can do like 5 minutes less a day, then it's also already like a progress, even if it's not the one that I want to.
Yeah.
And you don't. I feel like people are way too critical with themselves. For in every part of the way, so it's super easy to slip into old patterns, but it's also hard to keep the new ones, you know what I mean? So you gotta find a balance in that and like just keep evolving.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah. But it's interesting, the idea of like the patterns, because I think that's I think a lot of people are at least now becoming aware of, at least maybe in like my own existence, I started realizing like, oh shit, there's these loops. And I recently had this very frustrating discovery where it was like I was in my everyday tasks, and I came to the realization everything's sort of like in a loop, and depending on what you make as a decision, you may slip into that one loop versus the other loop. And I was right at the crossroads, and I went into sort of like a bad habit loop, and I was like, oh wow, this is going to send me down this one bad habit loop. But I was thinking like, all right, at least I'm self-aware of this.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's the first step, and it's the most important step, that you realize that most people don't even see these loops, and they don't realize what they are doing has these consequences. Yeah. And if you're already seeing that, that's great.
Yeah, but then it's so frustrating.
It gets more frustrating
because you're fully aware of it, if there comes a point where you're realizing this loop and you're stuck in this loop and you just can't get out. You're like imprisoned to it, and then you just there's that idea of like just surrender yourself into it, like within sort of this transcendental movement. You should like sometimes surrender into just the flow of things, and then I'm like, all right, let me try this, and then it just frustrates me more.
Yeah, I get that. I'm using, do you know the app Headspace?
Yeah,
that's a meditation app. I'm using that, and there's actually like they have different courses and things, and there's this course talking about, what is it called again, coping with cravings, which is an interesting title, I think, because when you think of cravings, most of the people do like whatever, it's smoking, drugs, food, but like cravings could also be being lazy, or like not getting up early or whatever. That's for me, that's also a craving. And then in this course, he has this picture of somebody walking down a road, and there's a hole in the road, and they fall into it, and then they climb back out and go down the same road before, and always fall into the same hole, and the hole is like the cravings.
Yeah.
And then he talks about that as soon as you realize you're on the road and you see the road, that's a big step. Even if you still fall into the hole, as long as you see then the next time you're going to see the hole, and maybe you just still fall into it, but then the next time after that, maybe you see it early enough or maybe not. And that's still okay, but it's like super small steps. And I feel like to have the outcome that you wish for is going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time until you not fall into the hole, but it's still, if you see the hole, there's still a step.
Yeah.
But if your goal is to not fall into the hole, then you're gonna have to walk the road a lot of times, not reaching your goal. And I feel like you have to be, we all should be less critical on that, and see like the steps that you took before. But it's hard. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, and you fall, but that's also with anything with goals, is sort of like you gotta fail quite often to be able to achieve a goal, and probably that's also why goals aren't so easy to achieve, and that's why we almost glorify what a goal is, because you gotta put in your work, your time, your attention into it, and be disciplined about it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I see you got Easy Boost.
Yeah,
nice 750s, right?
Yeah. But like, between us and the people on the podcast, they not real, man. They not real. I bought them 4 or 5 years ago. I probably wouldn't buy another fake at this point in my life, but back then I was not, I didn't want to spend a lot of money for something that I feel looks good, because I feel I didn't really, it's hard to say that, to know that, but I feel like I didn't really want them because they're Yeezys, but because I felt like the design is nice.
The designs are sick. Yeah.
And so I wasn't ready to pay like for something that is easy. I just wanted like to do the design, so I was buying fakes. I gotta admit that.
Hey, all the respect to that. No, but it's also like, yo, you don't need to also be dropping so many G's on shoes.
Man.
Yeah.
That's it's like the perfect example of like society. You gotta, if you want to wear something that you think looks good, a lot of times you have to spend a lot of money on it. I don't get that.
Yeah.
It's just like the whole branding thing.
Well, it depends. Like, you have some things that look good but are relatively inexpensive. But then like everybody's gonna cop that, and then that ends up being like what you see at Zara.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Zara is like, I have a love-hate relationship with them, because I feel like they have a lot of nice, I mean, first of all, they doing fast fashion, and we don't really fuck with that no more.
Yeah.
But second of all, they had pretty nice designs back in the days that I rocked pretty often. But then they also, like, the quality was not that good. They got fucked up really fast, and also there was a lot of people. I don't know, if you picked out the right pieces, I feel like not a lot of people wore them, because they were maybe too. In my case, I had some things they may have been too eccentric for like the mass of people.
Yeah.
But you would be very, very quick to look like everybody else.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with that. But also fast fashion.
Yeah, but nobody knew what fast fashion was back in the day.
Back in the day, man, I was like 16, 17, no idea what fast fashion is. I didn't care.
Yeah. Now I remember my first Tara t-shirt. I got it like I was 18, and I was like, "Ooh, wow, so fresh!" Going to the club and everything, and then one of my buddies is like, "Hey, isn't he wearing your shirt?"
Oh man!
And like,
no.
And like my buddy just was. Then it was all of a sudden like I was the joke.
Oh no, man! Yeah, that's fucked up.
But yeah, that's a case when you go to these fast fashion things, and it's ecologically terrible, because what they'll do is like they'll put like clothes here in Zara in Mannheim, and then they'll show it on display for 6 weeks. They'll pack it all up again, and then they'll ship it to like Düsseldorf.
Really?
Yeah, they like ship their inventory around each other as well.
That's why they don't always have the same things.
Yeah, and that's also how you keep the consumer always coming in. It's because you're walking through downtown, and you're just like, hey, let's pop in and see what's going.
True. Yeah. If you're in another city and stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was, yeah. Definitely like at the business level, like I love business models. Like it's very, very,
Very smart.
It's very smart, but we also need to be very ecologically aware of the impacts of such business models, and I think that is unethical, and therefore omitted as being a pretty dope project.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, for me, it's pretty hard because I've been interested in fashion and like outfits and all that for, I don't know, ever since I had money to buy shit myself. But I also asked my parents for that. So a lot of years. But recently, I mean, in the past like 2 or 3 years, I got very much aware of like ecologic things. I've been on a spiritual journey for a few years now, and I sometimes have a hard time like combining these things because I still want to look fresh and all that stuff, and I love fashion and all that, but there's not a lot of like ecologically good fashion brands and then most of the times they're expensive too.
Yeah,
so you gotta, I don't know. It's a hard thing to do. I try to not shop at ASOS or H&M and stuff like that, but sometimes I just see like a super nice thing and then I still buy it.
Yeah.
But as I said before, it's like the small steps. I definitely buy way less than I used to.
Yeah.
So that's already like a step in the right direction, I guess.
Yeah, you can also do like clothes trading or go to thrift shopping.
Oh yeah, true.
Like I love going thrift shopping and finding just like hidden gems.
A good thrift shop in Mannheim? Because I have one like right next to where I live, and that's trash.
I do know of a good one in Mannheim.
Okay.
And it's a hit or a miss, but like if you take a journey out there every 2 weeks, it's not it doesn't hurt, but like I found a Bape sweater there.
Really?
Yeah, it was the best find.
That's crazy.
For €5. It was
what?
Yeah. Because they had no clue. What it is.
Yeah.
They put it in the
sweater, right?
Yeah, they just put it with all the other sweaters, and you see a bunch of sweaters from like local football clubs, and then you see this one Bape, and I was like,
that's
this
crazy.
is it.
What color is it?
It was white. It's not Bape. It's Baby Milo.
Oh yeah.
Say somewhat same.
Yeah.
I see the interrelation between the designers, but yeah, it was Baby Milo. Excuse me.
But still, €5, man.
Yeah,
that's a steal.
Yeah, it was just it was a very eccentric, glittery Baby Milo sitting there. It's definitely a dope sweater, and
that's cool. I gotta check that out. Mannheim.
Yeah.
You know what the name is of the store?
No, it's right. It's right next to a McDonald's. That's all I know.
Okay, maybe I can find it that way.
Yeah, but there's also this one thrift shop here in Mannheim, but I think they're a little bit overpriced. What they do is like they go find those hidden gems at other thrift shops, and then they bring it here, really? And then they like upsell it for like 60-70 euros. They have like a lot of sports, U.S. sports retro stuff.
Oh, maybe that's the one that's right next to my
apartment.
I don't know. It's called, what is it called again? It's 2 words. It's 2 words repeated. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember.
No worries. But if they're trash anyways, then
yeah. They had like a big party when they were opening, and I went there and I saw like 2 or 3 pieces that were kind of alright, but they sold. But that's why I'm guessing it's what you're talking about, because they sold like vintage Nike sweaters for like $80.
Yeah,
I was like, that's not. I mean, why? That I don't. They not that great. They like vintage Nike, which is cool, but like $80. That's like a new price.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird thing now with like the secondhand market.
Yeah.
People are willing also to pay 80 for something like that. But that's also a big hustle out there if anybody's listening and wants to figure out like some way of making
open
money.
Up a vintage shop, man.
Yeah, dude, easy as shit to do that with like Etsy online.
You probably just have to do like an online shop. You don't even have to have a store.
No storefront. It's like look at the rules right now. Like no stores are even open
anyway. Yeah, that's true.
No need to pay rent. Yeah.
You just have to pay the server.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, Etsy you can do it for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they take like part of the money when you sell something?
Yeah, they take a little portion of it, like $150. For what I do, like
That's cool.
I have an Etsy shop and don't really.
Really, what are you selling?
What I do is I come up with graphic tees. You know those like bootleg hip hop T-shirts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
you really do that?
yeah, I do that, and then
But you're not there's like this one shop from Mannheim, VHG. They do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know about them.
No, I didn't even know about them. I do vintage T-shirts, but like the thing is, everybody does hip hop artists. So what I do is I like take pop culture icons that are not like in this domain of hip hop artists. So like somebody like Gary Vee, and then I like make a bootleg hip hop version of his T-shirt.
Cool. Where do you get the tees? The basic.
So and this isn't really too ecological, but like sometimes you just gotta get some bread. Yeah. So what I do is it's called drop printing. So you essentially create a design and you load it up onto Etsy, and as soon as somebody purchases it on Etsy, the order goes to a printer of the T-shirt. They print per T-shirt. So then that order gets sent to that printer, and they essentially print it and ship it to that person for you. It's all like integrated.
Yeah, I get it.
And
that's how they all do it. I was asking myself, I was wondering how all these people that sell like shirts with crazy designs, where do they get the printer and everything? Yeah. I didn't even know that works. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then like whatever it is, like you pay like $12 to $15 or euros for the T-shirts and the prints, and whatever you charge, you get that difference. What are you charging? I'm pretty fair. I do $18.99, but they pay for shipping, so like I get a total of $22.99, and then about 17 euros goes into the printing and shipping off of the product. So you get like €2. No, I'm getting like about $4.50 per shirt.
That's cool.
For
how's it going?
Right now I ran into a copyright problem.
Oh, you got sued?
No, I didn't get sued. The printer's like, hey, we see your products are copyrights, and I have orders backed up right now. So I need to find a new printer in the next few days so I can at least send it off to them.
Okay, I get it.
But like,
do you like? Did you use pictures that were copyrighted?
Yeah.
I'm just.
That's bootleg. It's called bootleg.
Okay, I get it.
So it's like I see other people doing it. I see them making sales, so I'm like, all right, they can obviously do it. So I got to figure out a way to do it.
Talking about copyrighted, I recently saw.
What's up?
No, I mean, last year I played in this particular bus. Summer DJ set. You remember that? And you didn't upload it because it got blocked because of the Jay-Z song and shit. Yeah. But you did upload it, right?
Yeah,
I saw it like a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you cut it out?
I muted it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Just so there's no sound in that part of the video.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, I didn't watch it at all. I just remembered that you told me that there were copyright issues, and then I recently saw the video online.
Yeah.
So go watch that if you listen to this podcast.
Yeah, that was the NJR to go.
Oh yeah, that's true.
COVID sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was copyrights are such with like Warner Music, or I think that was Universal Music Group.
Probably, yeah.
And good luck trying to get it cleared. I went from email to email to email. I was getting shoved around. I was like,
it's crazy that you even tried to do it. Not a lot of people try that. They just upload it. But it would have been blocked, right?
It would have been blocked. So it's like I was just trying to go for it because of course it makes the whole set.
Yeah, right.
Like it's important to the set. Yeah. And I just don't understand it. Like, monetize off of us. Like, I'm not trying to make money off your guys' work.
So that's the crazy thing. I'm currently working on like doing DJ live streams and all that stuff, but it's really hard to figure out something because unless you're playing like all the crazy bootleg remixes, all the shit gets blocked. Like I tried a few months back with my DJ collective Bush Batang, we tried to stream on Instagram, got blocked. Then we tried to stream on YouTube, they block, and like as soon as you play like a song that is copyrighted, they just block the stream.
Yeah.
The only thing that is working right now is Twitch.
Yeah.
which has not been blocked yet in the past sets that we played. But
I'll give you a point or two where you can do live streams.
really?
Because they've already taken care of all the copyright stuff. Mixcloud, they launched a live.
Do they? Is that audio only?
No, it's also video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. I got it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I remember that.
That's definitely the go-to right now. That's what I'm trying to mostly go off of. Is Mixcloud.
And they just did all the copyright in front.
Yeah, they cleared everything. They got all the deals with all the major copyright
crazy.
holders. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, definitely recommend it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, because it's especially now, like we saw how difficult it is to do sets, be artists. Like I see so many live streams. Like I'll see them like restart their on Facebook, for example, 3-4 times restart their live stream only to get blocked 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. Speaking of Bush Batang, how's that project going?
It's kind of on a hold.
Yeah.
But we still, I mean, it's the three of us, Leo, Asla, and me. And Asla and me, we live in the same building, and we still do stuff. I'm pretty much focused on my own music at the moment, and she's writing her master thesis, so this is kind of on hold. And Leo has like personal issues right now with his family and stuff, so he's on hold too. But we still like, we very much alive, and we this morning actually I talked to Asla about like maybe doing a YouTube channel where we all do our content under like the hood of Bush Batang.
Yeah.
And maybe we are gonna do that. Maybe probably gonna kick my my artist YouTube channel for it, and just like upload my music videos and stuff on the Bush Batang.
Yeah.
Like back in the days when I don't know if you remember that, but Odd Future had this thing too where they all just uploaded their stuff on like the Odd Future thing, and they grew like as a group. And also Internet Money is doing a lot of that right now, if you know about that.
I have no clue who Internet Money is.
Internet Money is like, what are they? They are a production company, group, gang, whatever it is, including some music producers and marketing guys and videographs and all that stuff. And they have a house somewhere in California where they all live together, like 6, 7, or 8 people. And they just do shit with different artists and different genres and stuff. And you remember Lemonade, the song that went #1 recently with Don Toliver and stuff. That's an Internet Money song.
Okay.
Featuring like Don Toliver and whoever is on there. But it's produced by people from Internet Money, and it's on the Internet Money YouTube channel.
Yeah. So
that's what they doing. They do like all this group shit, and they just kind of profit off of each other. Yeah. And that's maybe the idea of where we want to go.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I wrote actually my master thesis on that.
Really?
How artists come together and create collectives. It was like right as Odd Future like finished up their thing, and then Brockhampton came on the scene.
Exactly.
And I was like really inspired by that idea. And then Selection was going off at the time too. So I was looking at like how artists come together and create like a shared brand and develop themselves through that. And ended up realizing that there's like a lot of I interviewed many collectives and started realizing that there's like a lot more to it than just also like building yourselves up as artists. You're also benefiting artists individually by having sort of like this group,
right?
And on sort of the same mission and sort of the sense of belonging. And some of the stuff like got like really real in like the interviews where like people were saying, hey, like without this group, like I probably would have killed myself by now. So that's there's like this crazy thing of like working together and having.
It has
like,
so many
identity.
pros, like on so many different levels. It's marketing wise, it's great because if you like one artist, and then you're probably gonna check out the other artists of the collective. It's like a group thing. You have like a sense of belonging, as you said. It's like probably easier to maintain all that stuff. It's not like you don't have to keep up 10 YouTube channels or something. You just have like this one thing and this one hood where everybody, like, you can also, especially if you're doing the thing which also Brockhampton did and Internet Money, if you move in together into a house and you live really close, then you can like benefit off of each other so much, if it's like personally, spiritually, psychologically, artist wise, like equipment. You don't have to buy like 10 10 setups.
Yeah.
You only need one, maybe two if you're a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. And I really realized how important that is when I was like I've been working on my music on my own mostly, like in my little room, and I like that. I love that because it's like my getaway. But I also realized that I really have the urge to work with other people, to get inspired by their creativity, or maybe see how they do things and maybe try that for myself. Because at some point you can watch as many YouTube tutorials as you want to. At one point you're going to get stuck like in the way that you do things.
Yeah.
And it takes the fun out of it. And so I've been like on the lookout for people I can collaborate with, even like if it's people in Mannheim I can like just hang out with, or even if it's like online, I just want to collaborate as much as I can, because I feel like that's how you really grow creatively.
Yeah, well, because there's this crazy power when you're in a room with other people, or like they got similar vision, or the vision sort of like with the paths are somewhat aligning, and you can just sort of see how they take the path. That's something that I think is a little bit missing right now through Corona, is this collaborating.
Yeah. I've been missing out on a few sessions because of Corona, because I mean I know a few people I could work with, but it would be illegal. And also like it's just like that. You cannot hang out with like 3 other artists because it's illegal, and not a lot of people are going to do it. And you also feel bad. Like I feel if I do cross the lines on the Corona rules here and there, but I always feel kind of bad because I have parents that are not the youngest, and I feel like if everybody would do that, it's just like risking them, you know.
Yeah.
And so I try to keep inside of the rules most of the times, but it's hard after like a year to still be inside of these rules, and still be inside and not meet people, even if you have like the urge to do it, and even if you feel like it could like change up your mood or help you like be more creative or be less lazy. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to do.
Oh, it's definitely hard. I think what we sort of like a vision that I have is creating like a place where a bunch of artists can just meet, and they somewhat like also live there, but not like permanently, and they can just collaborate on like, you know, like there comes summer break and you have a month off, and everybody just comes together and is just like, all right, let's collaborate. Like you can really pop out a few albums with enough artists if you are stuck in a place for a month. A lot.
You get a lot of shit done. Also, I feel like if you feed off each other's creative energy, you can get more done, but you also able to work more before it gets super tiring.
Yeah,
I feel like when I work on my own, I hardly have the energy to like stay up all night and work on music, because at some point I just get tired.
Yeah.
And then I recently did like a session with a good friend of mine, and we had like a bottle of white wine, and we were just like chilling, and the next thing you know, it's like 5 a.m. we still recording vocals. I'm not tired at all, and it's just like a whole different energy if you're like with other creatives in the room. So you get to work more and be less tired about it, and less like drained.
Yeah. Well, it's also because that was like aha moments where like somebody has like a breakthrough in the entire production process. Somebody has a breakthrough, and then it's
everybody gets so excited.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it builds up on each other. The momentum picks up, and that's sort of like that's one of the greatest feelings when you're collaborating.
Definitely. Yeah. Like feeding off of each other's energy, and if you see that somebody else takes your idea and takes it to a next level, but it has some kind of creative respect to it, that they like respect the things that you do, and they feel like what you do is good and is good enough to get like to get like included in the rest of the idea. And sometimes that's also what stops you when you're on your own, because you like starting to doubt yourself. If is that good enough? Is that like a nice self-doubt production or whatever? Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, it's you sometimes get stuck because you doubting that what you do is good enough. And if you with other people and they appreciate it and they take it and they like take it to another level, there's also like this creative respect and this appreciation of your work that also adds to that energy momentum.
Yeah. Damn. And you also mentioned way at the beginning of this, you're sort of like on the spiritual journey. Yeah. What sort of what do you define your spiritual journey?
That's half a year ago would have been easy to answer, because like I don't know how far in yours. I know that you are on yours too, but
Appreciate it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I see it by
how
you.
far you got.
That's why.
But I mean, I started. How did I start? I think I started moving into a new flat with new people, and I realized that I had this idea that I'm able to create my life and to really design it. And then my flatmates got me this book called The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Which is for this. I really can recommend that for the start. I mean, if you already if you've been on your spiritual journey for a while, maybe it's not that interesting anymore, but for a start, it really like got me into it. And then I started like, that was around the time when I got sucked into TikTok, and then I somehow landed on fucking spiritual TikTok. And I saw a lot of people like talking about spiritual journeys and spiritual awakening. And I still remember that in the beginning I saw a lot of videos of people talking about the spiritual awakening, that everybody thinks it's so great and blessing and it's just shiny, but in reality it's also depressing a lot of times.
Yeah.
And like you get a lot of fallbacks. And for the first 6 months I didn't know what they were talking about, and then it like kind of came to me, because the more you realize about the world, which is kind of the same as you said in the beginning, it's really depressing as soon as you realize the loops, and when you can see them, it's more depressing than before you saw them.
Yeah.
So the more you realize how the world works, or how it works for you, and how you see the world in a spiritual way, the more frustrating it sometimes gets, that you cannot control everything, or that you're not at a place where you would want to be. So this is like the past few months of the end of 2020 was like that for me, but right now I'm pretty much on like the come up again, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I realized that I'm able to create my own reality and my own world, and if I cannot control the circumstances, I can definitely control how I react to them, which is a major part of how your life goes and how you feel. Yeah, so I started that like last year. I got like into it, and I feel like it's not something. The daily actions are something that you choose to do, but the whole spiritual journey and awakening is, I don't feel like it's something that you actually choose to be doing. It's just like you kind of slide into it, and then you can't get out anymore, because there's only like, you can only either you stop or you take action and get more experience and like dig deeper into yourself and into the world. So that's what I'm doing. I don't even know if I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, that's like what I sort of think is the way of it is, you really don't know what you're doing.
You don't, and I think nobody knows.
Yeah, and
that's the big secret.
And a bunch of people try to explain it, but they're just at their beginning as well. Yeah, I always think that it's just levels to this shit. Like I really think there's just levels to it.
Definitely.
And there's always gonna be somebody who's ahead, and maybe get some wisdom from them. But it's sort of like once you slip into it, it's you're aware of it and you see the good in it, and sort of like you can create your own reality, like with the actions that you take, or how you react to things that are like not within your control, which I think comes from perspective as well.
Definitely.
Once you understand that, it's like you come to the realization you can really do anything you want, and nobody can stop you. Nothing can stop you.
Which is so scary. It's the scariest thing in the world, because you can blame nobody but you.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people don't want to do it. Is because then all of a sudden you're 100% accountable for the entire thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's where like a lot of the pain comes from, is being aware that you are the one doing this.
It's nobody else.
Yeah. It's definitely
It's scary, but it's exciting, but it's also frustrating, and it's a lot of emotions at the same time.
oh yeah.
But it's worth it. I feel like it's worth it, and it's going to be even more worth it the further you go.
Definitely. I definitely think that.
How did you start?
Astrology friend was talking all about this astrology bullshit. I was like, oh, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm just competitive in some things, and like when it comes to like knowledge, I'm very competitive. I want to be the one who knows this to the to the T. And it was my best friend. He was talking about it, and he's like explaining the world using astrology. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna learn this, get better at it than you, and explain the world to you. Started doing this, and then I started like seeing the elements, and that's when I slipped into alchemy. Was understanding, okay, elements, all right, dry, moist, wet, and then what's up, what's down, feminine, masculine energy, and then it just started coming more and more of realizing, oh wow, this is like our universe. And then I don't know. Then I started reading books and more books. Sort of went down dark paths. Was very aware I was in these dark paths, but like understood like I need to hold on to like who I am. Self-discovery. Definitely drugs. Brought me to some places where like I started seeing more.
What drugs are we talking about?
I'm talking like LSD, DMT, mushrooms.
I still want to do that.
Which one?
All of them.
Be careful.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do it yet, but I've watched a lot of documentaries on it, and there's this one. Do you know this one TED Talk that is banned from? Who is it from?
Is it the dude who talks about fear?
Kind of. He talks about DMT, and then he also talks about mushrooms and about like quitting smoking,
No.
ayahuasca and stuff.
No.
And it fucking blew my mind because he has this theory that is apparently, I didn't do enough research on that, but he has this theory that is apparently a lot of people have that the last evolutionary step that we took from like for humankind was enhanced or even made possible through the consumption of some certain plants.
Yes.
And that because we are criminalizing these drugs, we are maybe or probably blocking ourselves from the next evolutionary step.
Yeah.
And it fucking, that's crazy, man. That's all this stuff. But see, that's because you were talking about your spiritual path. That's so interesting because I wouldn't be able to say who's further in our paths, but they are so different because I have no idea about alchemy. Yeah. I was doing like all the self-discovery stuff I did was centered around like psychology and your own mind and like your self-awareness, and also a little bit about astrology, but mostly through my friends. But I've never read anything about like alchemy.
Yeah.
It's so we on a completely different path, but it's like still the same idea. Same
thing. And that's actually like some ideas that I've come across is sort of like everybody's on their own spiritual path, and that's like ultimately trying to get back to the understanding of unison. Like we are all this like broken collective consciousness, and everybody is just sort of like, if we were to see, and weirdly enough, like I see it as the Bible, like the Bible says God is the all-knowing. All-knowing is everything that knows. So all-knowing would be all of us that are aware and awake. Or people who have knowledge, essentially. So all of that combined is actually all-knowing. So all of us together is actually God.
That's crazy.
And everybody sort of has their role in it. Yeah. And because like sometimes like I'll get frustrated at like the woke movement. There are things in it where I'm like I'm a little bit critical of. But at the same time, it's like, yo, that's not my fight. That's maybe I should just stay out of it and let the natural equilibrium find its balance there.
Probably.
And I'll go focus on the things that actually I think I do know about, and things that also inspire me and push me to further develop myself. And I think that's with everybody. They have to sort of like find their path.
Yeah, that's also the thing that I always get reminded about, that you cannot wake somebody up.
Yeah.
They gotta wake by themselves.
Yeah.
You can't explain it to them, because even if you tried, and even if you would be able to perfectly put into words what you think about, which is almost impossible, it's not what their journey is. So
Yeah.
you can't, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You all you can do is like to give out some little snippets of wisdom, or to spark ideas that somebody else has, but they got to do it by themselves.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fully aware of that. I have been trying to do that like with my family, trying to get them, and like like I see things and I'll just like name it. I'll be like, all right, this is happening because of that. Here's the chain reaction, and they'll be like, no, that's not how it's happening. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's hard. It's hard. You gotta find. I mean, I've been trying to find a way to just like put statements out there and then let them do whatever they want with them,
Yeah.
because that's all you can do is like spark the flame or spark the idea. And that's also how I see the woke movement that you talked about. I know exactly what you mean if you get frustrated by that, because there's a lot of things that are somehow weird to it and not the real thing. But what I mean, the real thing, that's like still my perception. And I feel like they are probably the whole woke movement is setting somebody on their path.
Yeah.
They just like they sparking some ideas for somebody, and maybe they are informing themselves on that matter or whatever it is. But as long as they like start somebody's journey, is still, they have a reason to be there.
Yeah, very true. But because still speaking of like spirituality and like a little bit of the woke movement, what I'm also concerned is spirituality is also sort of like tainted. There's some like evil spirits out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like manipulation going on, and this manipulation's like feeding egos as well, and putting people onto sort of like almost false belief systems that may not be their own belief system, only for them to work as a soldier in somebody else's belief system. And that's sort of like what I see like as the possible dangers of what's going on.
Definitely. You have examples for that? Like, what are you talking about? What are we talking?
There's examples would be a little bit hard to find. It's usually when I see it. Maybe I should start taking notes more often.
Do you take notes? Like, do you write stuff down?
I journal every single day. I've been doing that for like 5 years. That's a whole nother dimension. Like, and then if you like open a journal from 3 years ago and read what you were thinking back then, all of a sudden you start realizing you can manifest anything you want because you'll read what you've manifested already. Just a little side note: everybody should be journaling.
How do you do it? How do you journal?
Wake up essentially first thing in the morning and open up the journal book, because your brain's essentially in theta, waking up from like a sleeping state to an awake state. And that's why we also do hypnosis. We always try to bring somebody very at the edge of falling asleep to be able to get to their subconscious. And that's why when I wake up first thing in the morning, I sit down and write in my journal. Even if I'm like half asleep, I'll like even just like repeat like boring sentences or mantras that I have until I'm awake enough to start really formulating thoughts. Yeah, and that's sort of like what I've been doing for like.
How long do you like have a time? How long do you do it? Do you like just keep on writing until there's nothing in your mind anymore?
Now 3-page limit, and actually 3 pages exactly every single time. Just sort of being like disciplined, because some days you want, if you go like, oh, I'm just gonna do how much I feel like doing, you're gonna one day show up and only write 1 page, and one day you're gonna write 6 pages. And I'm a firm believer, if you want to materialize something, you sort of like gotta be a little bit disciplined at it. Don't overwork yourself, but also push yourself. So by doing something like three pages, and it's recommended by Julia Cameron, who has a great book where she bridges being creative and spirituality and religion. And it's a 12-week program. And you just do it, and that she gives you homework. And I've never made it all the way through the book. I've made multiple attempts. but it's like it's a book that many artists vouched by, saying if it wasn't for this book, they would have never made it as an artist.
Maybe I need that.
Yeah,
I probably do.
Yeah, try it out, like Julia Cameron's Creative Ways.
I'm
Definitely
write that down right now.
Definitely recommend it. And she recommends, she says every morning you're going to write 3 pages, and you're going to do that. And she even mentions in the book, like, some of her people who she started teaching have now been doing it 15, 20 years.
That's crazy.
But like, it's one of those things where, like, you can also, you use it as a tool for manifesting, for programming your subconscious mind to get the things that you want, by writing down your mantras, as well as sometimes you wake up in the morning and you have so many useless, stupid thoughts, and you just de-junk your brain, get rid of, like, just clean up sort of your thoughts before you go out into the day. And then afterwards, it's sort of like, you got a clear mind, a clearer mind, and you're much more aware. Yeah, because again, like, when you're waking up or when you're going to sleep, like, those are very crucial moments of your existence, because that's what's going to set the tone for the day, or for when you go to sleep and go visit your subconscious mind. Or some people believe that you go into the universe, astral projecting,
while you asleep.
Yeah, while you're asleep. I've never hit astral projection sober, but I've also came to the I've met people while meditating in group meditations.
Really?
Yeah. Had people walk past me, but I'm always stuck to a tree.
Crazy.
Yeah, and it's like the same tree, and that tree is continuously always been in, like, also psychedelic trips where I'm like leaning against a tree and just watching the world go by, and like letting other worlds sort of like come to me and then also go, and sort of like give wisdom as it goes, or lessons, or they bring me lessons.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You ever found out, like, what this tree is about?
I think it comes in, this is where, like, alchemy comes in. I'm a very earth person. I'm grounded. I am very good at materializing things, making things like slow and steady. Like, my spirit animal has been a turtle, because it's like,
How do you find that out?
I just let it came to me, and I was like,
the turtle.
The turtle.
It's crazy.
The turtle.
Interesting.
Yeah. And but that was like just intuition, and it's sort of like ever since I, like, thought about it, it just sticks to me. And it's like, maybe, and like, if you're somebody who doesn't believe in this at all, and you're just an atheist and you believe in, like, science, then you know what? I've convinced myself that I am a turtle. I am just slow and steady, but I always want to go to that, like, patch of grass that, like, I want to feed from, and I always have sort of like, I am my own home. And sort of
I get it.
Yeah. And don't need to worry too much about trying to be fast, but like, turtles can also move fast, so yeah.
That's cool. Crazy. I have no idea what my spirit animal would be.
Yeah, just sit on it, meditate.
Probably, yeah. That's crazy.
Do you do any things like a meditation?
I do. I use Headspace, as I mentioned. I do that every morning. But it's more, I feel like how do I say it? I feel like it's a little less spiritual than, like, the things that you have been talking about, because most of the times it's very, I feel like Headspace is a very beginnerish meditation technique, because I feel like it's catered to people that have no history in the spiritual journey whatsoever, and they are pretty focused on, like, what your body does, how your body feels, and it's still interesting, and it works. But I've never had, like, any journeys during that or something. I've never seen anything. I was pretty focused, like, on my oh my god, I was pretty oh, that's how it works. I was pretty focused, like, on myself, on my body, and all that. And I also noticed that there is meditations in the Headspace app that talk about and utilize chakras,
Yeah.
but they never ever drop the word chakra. Because I feel like it's catered to people that are a bit scared of like to be too spiritual or to like go too deep into it. As I feel like it's a little bit for like the business people who meditate every morning, something like that. I mean, it's still working, and I like it, and it I'm able to center myself for the day. But as far as having a spiritual journey or spiritual growth, it did nothing for me yet. Okay. But sometimes very irregularly I do other meditations. I did like a few chakra meditations that take like half an hour, like all that YouTube stuff. Yeah. And that I realized I felt that it made a much bigger difference than the headspace ones did, because the headspace ones are like pretty much just like centering yourself and like getting ready for the day and like being one with yourself. But as far as like spiritual journeys, there's other meditations that do a lot more.
Yeah. No, but you're probably definitely meditating way more than I do. Like I'll probably do it like once a week. That's about the most meditation that I'll do. Because I'm also a person, I'm very difficult to sit down and meditate. So at least like you're being disciplined about it if you're like doing headspace and everything. And it's I think that's already a step way more than a lot of other people take in sort of just like getting grounded. And I think it's always important to have those moments in the morning.
Definitely. Yeah. The morning routine is like one of the most crucial things that you can do. Yeah. I also developed that over like the past 1.5 years, like the spiritual journey that I was talking about. Like 2 years ago, I didn't have a morning routine. I just woke up and I did something. I don't know. And now when I just recently got back from my parents' place, and sometimes at my parents' place, for some reason, I have a lot of trouble staying disciplined, because in my head, it's somehow like a vacation place.
Yeah.
But the morning routine is so deeply rooted in my life by now that if I don't do it in the morning, I feel kind of weird. Yeah. I feel it doesn't feel right. It feels like something's missing, and I also feel bad about it that I didn't do it. Yeah. So that's like a step that I realized that I took, and it feels good that if I don't do it, I'm missing something. That feels pretty great.
Cool. What's sort of like your morning routine filled with?
I do the first thing I do is like go to the bathroom and brush my teeth, because that's like the 1 or 2 minutes that I need to like fully wake up. And then I do a few like stretching yoga movements that I like put together myself, like just stretching every part of the body for a little bit for like 10 minutes or whatever. And then I have this 6-minute daily diary, which is 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes in the evening, where it says, it says, what did I dream? 3 things I'm grateful for. What could I do to make this day better? What am I looking forward to? And the most important thing to focus on, something like that. So it's like just 3 minutes in the morning, just like getting grounded and focusing my intentions for the day. And then I do the headspace meditation, and that's it. That's like, it takes about an hour, I guess, from waking up until I'm like doing whatever the day is.
Yeah. But
which is a lot of time. It's not, but it's also yes, because like an hour it's in terms of like lifetime, it's obviously not a lot, but I when I have to do something at like 9 a.m. and I have to like get up a little before 8, it's harder than just like brushing your teeth and getting into the day.
Yeah, but it's also something like you can always fall back on, and that's sort of like, I think the importance of like morning routines is you're not really like, you can have a fucked up day, but like if you fall back onto, or you can be like in a fucked up life situation, if you at least lean on your morning routine, you're going to at least feel somewhat better about yourself.
Definitely. And I've had so many days especially in the last few months after I finished my bachelor thesis, when I went into that hole of not knowing what to do with my life. And like, I feel like a lot of people, especially in our generation, have the feeling of, in this pandemic, of waking up in the morning and it doesn't make a difference if you get up or if you don't.
Yeah.
Not in a sense of like dying or anything, but in the sense of whatever I'm doing today, I could do that tomorrow. It doesn't make a difference. Like tomorrow's going to be the same day as today. And there's been so many mornings when I woke up and I was laying in bed and I wanted to stay in bed because I felt the exact way. I was like, whatever it is, I can do it tomorrow. It doesn't make a difference. But then I told myself, I'm just going to do the morning routine and then I'm going to lay back in bed. And 0 times when I got up and did my morning routine, 0 times I got back into bed.
Yeah.
Never.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it saved a lot of my days, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet like that's sort of, I see it the same way. But the difficult part is always that like first step of throwing yourself in there.
Yeah, but that's my morning routine is not especially exhausting or anything, and so I got pretty good into convincing myself I'm only doing this because you can. I mean, even if I at one point should be doing the morning routine and getting into bed, at least I did that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy by now to convince myself to just do these 3 things, like the stretching and the journal and meditating, and then go back into bed if I still feel like it. But when I'm done with that, I don't feel like it anymore.
Yeah. That's
so
amazing.
it's pretty easy to convince yourself to only do these 3 things if you have like you can lead yourself with the idea of getting back into bed.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
There's a crow up here.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, mesmerized by this crow that's on the roof. All right.
Do you feel like that's a sign?
Do
you believe in that?
Yeah and no. Like that was just coincidence. It was a crow just coming here. I don't really see it as like any significance.
But the crow isn't it an animal that appears in a lot of like spiritual stuff?
Supposedly. I'm not familiar. I'm not really so in touch with Mother Nature type things.
Okay.
I think actually when it comes to like spiritual stuff, I'm not so attached to nature.
When you took these drugs that you were talking about, did you go into nature?
Oh, I'm always in nature when I do it. Like that's like one of the requirements.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. A lot of people say that.
Yeah,
you should go into nature.
There was one time where like we took shrooms like with a group of people, and like we were in the city of Amsterdam, and like it was.
That's also very cliche.
It was very cliche. Yes. Yeah, I lived in Amsterdam, had some friends visiting, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's do that." I'm like, "All right, fine." And I'm just like, just enjoying like my trip. I'm looking mostly at the sky and just sort of playing thoughts in my head and just sort of like observing like the city life. And I'm like, this isn't really like the greatest thing. And the other people are like not really having a great trip. Or like trams driving by and they're like freaking out because of a train's driving by. I'm like,
scary.
But no, that was I'm not much into the nature stuff. There's also like a lot of people out there who probably I would also advise, like, if you are self-aware of like not needing drugs, then don't take them.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I know some people who like say, no, I don't need drugs because I can do that sober.
Oh, okay. That's what you mean.
Like astral project. Like they can just astral project themselves. Just do.
You think there's people that do that without like any practice or experience?
I think there's like for example, my sister, like, she was telling me, hey, I had this weird dream where I was like being pulled out by the sound, and I'm like, all right, what's the sound? And she's like saying this hum noise, and it wasn't like any voices or anything, but it was like this white noise, and that's like something that a lot of people hear before they go into astral projecting, or like when they like leave their spiritual bodies, their material bodies. So I was actually like a little bit envious. I was a little jealous. I was like, yo, you're being called upon right now. That's
crazy.
To like go out into the whatever that world is like. Yeah.
That's crazy. No, it was because I was about to ask if you, how do I know that I don't need drugs if I haven't taken them yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do I know I there's nothing else that happens when I take drugs that I cannot reach? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think actually a lot of we have the ability to go have those experiences on drugs. Like I think those drugs just open up different parts of our brain
Yeah.
so we can perceive reality different. But I think that's almost like a shortcut.
Yeah.
And I also know people who've like went so deep down like the LSD hole where they like went mentally insane, and or like almost mentally insane.
Yeah, you
And
gotta be careful with that.
they got to be careful. But it's probably because they open themselves up so much, and then they got too many inputs and don't know how to decipher it, because like it should be a slow process. You can't just be constantly throwing yourself in an unknown dimension, you could say. Because if you're constantly throwing yourself there, then you're gonna not understand which dimension are you right now in.
Yeah. You gotta take the time to step back out of it and to process all the information that you got.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, that's something that I would like to do.
Yeah.
Like, so that's I'm not. There's a lot of people like doing drugs because it's fun. I don't know if there's people doing like shrooms or LSD because it's fun, but I heard of people like going clubbing and stuff,
Yeah.
and I would never do that. I'm just like, I'm not even on the lookout for fun. I'm just interested in what happens. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But I've watched a lot of documentaries and I've read a few articles about like how to prepare and all that stuff. And if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it like prepared and the right way, or the way that I intend it to do. I wouldn't want to like just go somewhere and randomly somebody offers me shrooms and I'm just gonna do them at a party or whatever. I wouldn't do that. But yeah.
Yeah, intention. That's like the big thing. That's with so much in our existence. I think intention is like one of the most. We spoke about it briefly outside. Like it's so crucial in everything that you do. Like, are you there? We can even take it to like music. Are you there to make music for the sake of music? Are you there to help people? Are you there to inspire people? Are you there just to push your own ego, or are you there to tell your story? Like
the music is gonna be so different.
Yeah.
No. You could do the same genre, and even maybe you could talk about the same things, but the music is gonna feel so different depending on your intention.
Yeah.
And I've been having trouble with that, because I at a lot of times I realized that I was doing the music for other people to like it, or for me to, because my dream is to like to pay my bills with my music.
Yeah.
And then at some point, while writing music, I realized that I'm writing this music right now, hoping that people are going to like it. So it's gonna pay my rent.
Yeah.
Which is not why it's like contrary to my dream of being able to make music full time.
Yeah.
Because if I'm doing music full time, but I'm only doing the music that I'm doing it with the intention that other people like it, then why would I do music at all? You know what I mean? It's like a closed circle. So I had to remind myself why I'm doing this music right now, and it's in the process to remind yourself to do that, and then to change your mindset about it. Hard thing.
Yeah.
Hard thing to do. Very intense.
Speaking of like your music, like you were doing these swipe for bars, which I totally thought was a genius idea.
Thank you.
I sent it to around like all the at least hip hop heads that I knew of, because I just think that was a great idea. But then I recently saw that like you took down these swipe for bars.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I took them down because I was forcing myself to write music and to create with this posting schedule that I did it like at one point I did it every 2 weeks, and recently I did it every week, which took the fun out of it in the first place. And then recently I had I listened to an artist that some friends sent me like months ago, but I didn't listen to it yet. And then I listened to it like 4 days ago, and I really, really liked it. I loved it, but it was opening at somehow, I don't even know. It's not about the music itself, but just seeing what he did, being from very close to where I'm from, where my parents live, and doing English music and doing it on a world-class level, with music videos that are world-class and that have like 4,000 views, something like that. And it opened my eyes about what I want to do and who I want to be. And writing songs for social media is not part of that.
Okay.
I realized that. Yeah, I did.
Cool.
Because what I want to do is make music that people listen to and that people get inspired by and maybe helped or whatever, depending on what the song is about. But I want to do music that moves people and that is from a real place.
Yeah.
And I feel like, as much as I like the idea of rapping rapping on beats that are already famous, which is what I did with Swipe for Bars, and posting that on social media, that's something that people see once, or maybe they watch it a few times or whatever, but they see it when they're on their phone and when they like scrolling through Instagram, and they see it and they probably like it, and I appreciate the love that I got for it, but they're gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
About the one video until I upload the next one next week.
Yeah.
And I put so much creative energy into that it's it stopped me or blocked me from writing other music at some point, because I spent some time. I mean, I learned a lot about songwriting and especially about mixing and recording myself and all that, doing these Swipe for Bars. But it stopped me from doing the real music that I was talking about, the real thing that represents me, because it was me because I wrote the lyrics, but it was not a song with a lot of feelings or anything.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's what I would like to be doing. Because I have to admit that I thought about the people perceiving me as a social media rapper or something like that. And I don't, and I thought about the people I admire and I would want to be like, and they are admired for their work and for their, talking about Kendrick. Yeah. You ever seen Kendrick's social media?
Yeah, we know.
That's not what I mean. I'm not gonna like disappear from social media, but imagine Kendrick doing 1 minute rap verses on Instagram.
He sort of did in a way, like what I saw, with your Swipe for Bars. Like I thought it was a genius like adaptation to social media context, and like I respect like your self-awareness. It's brilliant that like you're so self-aware of like what you actually want, and also willing to speak about it. But like somebody like Kendrick Lamar, like you're familiar with Dat Piff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's sort of like what Dat Piff was. They took famous beats.
That's true, but they made whole songs, and they made their own song, and they didn't do it for social media.
Yeah. They
just did it because they liked the beats and they wanted to make a song out of it. That's something I can definitely imagine to do.
Yeah.
But in a time of streaming, it's unfortunately not possible.
Yeah.
Because I would get copyrighted.
Yeah.
I have no problem with like using. There's so many great beats that I really, really love, and that I feel like I would be crushing. But I cannot. I would love to do a mixtape and upload it on Dat Piff, but who's gonna care?
Have you ever tried uploading anything to Dat Piff?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. But I probably could. But who's gonna listen to it? If it's not on streaming services, nobody listens.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. But you got like SoundCloud. SoundCloud, they don't go to.
That's true.
Get you on copyrights because like you can actually spit. Like I saw that.
I was actually thinking about doing like whole songs with beats that I like and uploading them to SoundCloud. That's something I was playing around with.
Yeah.
maybe I'm gonna do that. But I feel like the 1 minute videos on Instagram are just so, they disappear so quick from people's minds, and it's just not worth, like, from the time that I put into creating 3 or 4 of these, I could do a whole song and a music video for that.
Mm.
And it's something that lasts so much longer, and
Yeah.
it's so much more me
Yeah.
than like doing these social media things.
That's part of the process.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that, because I got to find out what beats I like myself on and how to record myself. When I took down the Swipe for Bars, I listened to the first one again and then to the last one, and it's crazy because it's 1.5 years, not even that. And the way my voice sounded, and I did all of them by myself. I mixed them myself, and I recorded myself and everything. And I made so big steps in terms of recording and mixing that I didn't realize I made.
Yeah.
So it was very important that I did that, but I feel like I'm on level 2 now.
Yeah. Nice. That's inspiring.
It is.
That's cool. That's
Thank
cool.
you.
And this is like actually like fresh news
It
in
is.
your life.
I took them down like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, like you also made like a post about it and everything,
Yeah.
and the directions that like you do want to focus on. So it's really exciting to know that like
It's
you're
exciting
going this
for
way.
me too, man.
Cool. And are you working on an album right now or an EP?
I am. No, I'm not. I have to admit that I didn't write a lot of music in the past few months, because I was doing my bachelor thesis, which was a full-time job for like 4 months, and then I had like this creative hole.
Yeah.
Like what I was talking about, it also very much impacted my creativity. But I am very excited to work in the next few months, because right now I'm pretty settled. I have like this the job where I go to 2 times a week to earn like my money, and I'm still a student at the university, but I don't have to do anything there right now. So
Yeah.
I got kind of free time on my hands, but I'm settled like rent wise and everything. So I'm very excited for the next few months to see what's gonna happen. I have no idea. I'm trying to learn to let it flow more, because I have I would say I got a problem with controlling everything. I really want to control a lot of shit, and that dragged me down before, because I was just planning. I was micromanaging. That's the word, right?
Yeah,
I was micromanaging my life and my career, and I had lists and like to-do lists of everything, and everything was planned. At some point I planned my week, doing like Monday is social media day, Tuesday is like writing, songwriting day, and all that stuff. And I caged myself. I caged my creativity and my head, and it blew up after like 5 days. I couldn't do it anymore.
Damn.
Because I was so trapped in my head. So I'm trying to learn how to let it flow more and just see what happens. So I have no plan whatsoever if I want to do an album, if it's going to be English, if it's going to be German, what type of beats. I have no idea.
All right, cool. Don't even need to worry about it.
No, I'm not.
That's cool.
That's the whole point. I'm trying not to worry about it.
That's cool. A quote that I heard that may like help you with like micromanaging, because I had this problem with micromanaging too, or like taking control over like everything in your existence, or working on projects. Like I want my vision to fruition, but you're actually not going to grow. You're not going to be able to grow yourself, grow a team around you, be able to do a lot if you're always micromanaging everything. You got to let things go. And the quote that I came across was from like Gary Vee was 95% of the things, ignore managing it, and only micromanage 5% of the things that you are for you super, super important. So like if you only focus like on the very, very important things, and that's sort of like what I've adopted, like I can collaborate way better now in projects with other people, because if they want to make that decision, they want to keep discussing about that, I'm going to step out. As long as nobody's like coming into my little 5% and trying to like micromanage me or tell me how I should do it, I'm pretty good then, because then it's like I can always fall back on that little 5% that I know is the things that I micromanage, and then I can let just the equilibrium be found within the group of people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's true. Cool. I gotta start learning that, because I could feel it. I could feel my head and my creativity being caged, and I was sitting down to write songs that I couldn't come up with. I didn't even know. I have so many things to talk about. I sit down, I don't know what to say.
damn.
Fucked up. But I'm getting there.
And what's your like writing process like?
Well, most of the time I used to, well, it changed a lot. When I did the EP that is on streaming services and everything, that was like around last year, around that time right now. I was sitting down and listened to beats and just wrote whatever came to my mind. I didn't have like a bigger picture or anything. It was just like what's going on inside my head. And now I try to sit down, and which is pretty, it sounds similar. I try to sit down and feel the energy and the vibe of the beat, and then I try to come up with a topic that fits to that, and then I try to write down what's on my mind about the topic, and then I form the lyrics from that.
Okay.
And what I used to do was I wrote like I instantly wrote a verse. So I wrote like line 1, then line 2, then line 3. And what I try to do now is like write, like brainstorm what I think about this topic that I picked, and then from that text try to form the song lyrics.
Okay.
Which is, I don't know, I don't even know if it's harder or not, but I feel like it levels up my songwriting, because it makes more sense. It's more more focused and more congruent. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I hope that's what I mean. But I try to try different songwriting, different kinds of songwriting. So if I come across somebody who writes songs in a different way, I try that out too. And that's also one of the reasons I want to collaborate with as many people, so you see their approach and see the way they do it. And I'm lucky enough to have a roommate now, a new roommate who is also doing music, and we wrote like 3 or 4 songs together in the past month.
Sick.
And she's also very spiritual, and we talk about a lot of that stuff. And she has a different approach to songwriting, and she's super crazy with melodies, which is kind of my bad part. Like I'm not that good at melodies, and I'm trying to find a way to come up with that. I heard about freestyling about a beat, and then just like freestyling melodies, and then you fill them up with words later. I didn't try that yet, but I want to try that. As I said, I just want to try out everything and see what works for me.
Sick. Yeah. That definitely sounds like you're evolving. Now you're even thinking of like the entire process of how to like improve and tweak on it. So much success on that. Trying to figure that out.
Thank you.
Who are you sort of like getting your inspiration from, like in more mainstream terms of like lyricists and songwriters?
So Kendrick is definitely an inspiration lyric wise. But that's on a level that I hope to achieve one day, but it's not something that I can like focus on right now because it's pretty far away. But I'm big fan of Saint John. Okay. If you heard of him.
No.
He used to be a songwriter only, and he wrote for like Rihanna and stuff. And then he recently, in 2019, I think he released his first album. And he has like this crazy approach of his melodies are insane. And he has like pretty hard trap beats, but he's singing a lot, but he's also rapping a little bit, but his melody game is crazy. And his lyrics are also like, he has the braggadocio standard rap things here and there, but it's also very emotional and on a pretty personal level. I'm also very intrigued, I gotta say, by Baby Keem.
Okay.
If you know who that is. Yeah. That's some hard shit.
Yeah.
And is ignorant to some extent, and it's arrogant, you could say, but I'm kind of fascinated by how he packages it.
Okay.
It's not something, I don't think this pure ignorance is something that I have in me, but it's definitely an aspect that I could channel to, like, you know what I mean, to express myself.
Alter ego that you can like slip into.
Yeah.
Now because ignorant, like ever since 21 Savage, I saw sort of like this ignorant rap, this that form all of a sudden was like, it felt like comedy in a way, where there was like wittiness to the punchlines, that like all of a sudden I was like, oh wow. But it was 21 Savage where like Migos actually also had it, they had it down to a T, but then like 21 Savage like almost made it intellectually hit me more, because it was well, what's that song X, where he's like says, I bought that bitch a Yorkie wolf, bought that bitch a Porsche room, and it's like he said it so hard, and it was also like so funny, and it was just like, wow, there's, and that's sort of like what I see with the ignorant rap, so to say. And I don't even like the term ignorant, because it's not really ignorant, it's really well thought out.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
but
the
it
funny
seems
part.
so. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And sort of like going old school, or like generally overall, who are sort of like your big inspirations overall in hip hop?
That's a good question. I gotta say, what do I gotta say? I grew up. The funny thing is, I grew up until I was like 14 or 15. I didn't even like rap at all.
Really?
I was listening to rock and all that.
Really?
Stuff. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then like the college punk stuff, all that, the classic Blink-182 and all that shit. And then I discovered Sum 41 and Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Who implement like rap in the rock thing, and then I was fascinated by the art form of rap itself. Also, probably because I was never a good singer, but I love music, but I was never able to really sing that well. But I found out that rapping was something I could do.
Okay.
So I maybe was intrigued by that, and then I like slid over to hip hop somehow. Obviously, starting with people like Eminem at that time, which was the Recovery album time, which was like, a lot of people consider that like the worst Eminem, and like it's very late.
Do you have like a guilty pleasure with it, or do you actually think it's like a good?
No, I have a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
It's not compared to like his old stuff, which I listened to later. It was just the first. It came out when I switched over to rap.
Yeah.
And so it has a place in my heart, I guess. But what also came out around that time was Watch the Throne.
Yeah.
Which really, really inspired me, because that's like the braggadocio and the in that case I would probably say ignorance. That was so over the top and maxed out in some lines that it impressed me. Also, the production was incredible, and I'm really a fan of like the big production, like the choirs and the opera sounds.
Sort of like what Kanye was doing at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's something I really like. And then what probably influenced me the most, or still inspired me the most, is the beginning of Travis Scott.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I feel like my all-time favorite album is probably My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yes.
I would say very much at the top is Days Before Rodeo.
Okay.
which I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
from Travis Scott.
Yeah, it's like the second mixtape, and the vibes of the production and what he was talking about and how he was saying it, and the vocal production especially was so, it was so one, the, the vibe was very unique, but he managed to hold it through a whole album, and it was like super mysterious but also a little bit like uncomfortable because it was so dark and you didn't really know what to do, what to do about it, how to feel about it. And that inspired me a lot. I mean, still to this point, at some every 2 months or something, I come back to listening to this mixtape and being impressed by the atmosphere that he created.
Yeah.
And I just recently did that again, like last week, and realized that is something that inspired me to begin with, but I didn't really realize it.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of that I want to do the music that sounds the same, but the way he creates this atmosphere, and he forces everything that's happening into this atmosphere. Like there's nothing that pops out of it. It's just like a little weird and mysterious and awkward, and I really admire that. On the other hand, which is completely different, I have a really big thing for Mac Miller.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
Who does something completely different, and he's way more rapping and like in the old school terms of rap than a Travis Scott.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to figure out how to put all these inspirations that I grew up on together.
Yeah.
So that's the goal of mine, to do something that's inspired by the old Travis Scott and Mac Miller at the same time.
Oh wow, I see. Yeah. And then one day you'll inspire somebody else to
I hope
fuse
so.
you with somebody else.
That's the highest form of appreciation, I think, that you can get, to be inspiring. And it's also one of my highest goals, to inspire other people. And that's why, as I did already receive messages that told me how much I inspire some people, and it was like baffling to me because I'm like, I'm not doing shit.
Yeah.
But I'm already inspiring. If they have no reason to slide in my DMs and lie to me.
Yeah.
But if I'm already inspiring a few people, like, where can I get with this?
Yeah. Yeah, just keep at it. Yeah. And then that's the thing, is you also live forever, in a way, because what happens is all of a sudden you're inspiring somebody who was inspired, who then inspires somebody else, and there's this chain of existence. And I think that's sort of like where with art we sometimes get caught up with our own egos, of like, all right, this is about me, but it's but like once you realize it's actually something way greater, it's passing on inspiration or creating an idea, and then somebody builds upon that idea and just constantly fine-tunes it, and it'll go as long as civilization continues.
Definitely. I always have to think about this one quote from Tupac, which is probably mentioned a lot when talking about inspiration, but I'm too young for that. But I mean, he still inspires me, but it's not something that I listen to on the regular. But he said in some interview, he said, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee I'm going to spark the flame that will.
Mm.
And that's crazy to me, because he probably was right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, very true. Tupac has inspired so many of hip-hops, but also like people within, outside of hip-hop even.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And like, look, we're already speaking about it now. Yeah, that's something sort of to think about.
And he's been dead for 24 years, 25.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, there's some theories out there that he like went to Cuba.
You think? But even if he did, how old would he be? 50 something?
Yeah, like 48, 50, late 40s, early 50s.
He could still be alive.
Dude, he'd definitely be kicking it.
In
like,
Cuba.
Yeah, like who knows? Like, who really knows what goes on at like that pop star level in the music industry?
I don't think you can fake it that long.
Fake a death?
So.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think like in 20 years, somebody has to. I mean, there's theories and people say they've seen him or something, but I think if you really fake it, in 25 years, someone's gotta.
It's very true with like the age of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Maybe there's so many things we don't know, even though the internet is here.
Oh yeah. And
the
the
now we're
internet,
getting into conspiracies.
that's very true. But even the internet itself is like very like it's very controlled and sort of like tries to steer you
Yeah.
and makes you try to look one way while everything's going on another way. And then of course you have the people who go like very crazy into the conspiracy world and start believing in like flat earth and everything. And I almost became a flat earther.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
They had some really good arguments. They had some very, very good arguments.
Did you talk to them?
No, I just I'm a fan of conspiracy theories just generally because there's like some that I know are like just batshit crazy, but you know it's entertainment. Like some.
What's the craziest one that you know?
All right, this is one that I actually really want to warn everybody upon in case it does happen. It's called Project Blue Dream, I believe. And what it is so essentially what's happened. Are you familiar with HARP in Alaska?
No.
All right, so supposedly, and it brings chemtrails, HARP in Alaska together, satellites in the space race together, as well as religion.
Okay.
As well as mind control.
Okay.
This is
everywhere.
Yeah, this is just a warning in case it does happen. So what they do is they put chemtrails in this air, not to try to kill the population, but to put aluminum oxide more into the air, so you can start bending matter and controlling the weather a little bit, as well as moving clouds around. And the idea is what they're going to do is they're going to do holographic projections onto it. And at the same time, HARP in Alaska is the thing that can control the ions in the aluminum particles. It controls the ionosphere with the aluminum particles to be able to move the clouds. And then with the satellites, what they're going to do is they're going to project a rapture. Into the sky, so people are thinking the rapture is happening from the Bible, and then at the same time there's going to be voices coming into our head through slow wave lengths, and we're going to be able to hear these voices, and it's going to be supposedly God communicating to us, but it's actually going to be somebody trying to send out a message to us, and we're all going to hear it, and we're all going to believe it, because if you're starting seeing like all these bodies floating up to the sky and a voice inside your head, then you're going to probably be believing it. So I find that's a very important one that we should all know about, just in case it does happen.
And what is the message? What is the message that they are gonna?
I don't know. That's
okay.
But they want to fake the rapture in order for people to take more control over more people and be able to have the things that they want, as well as people kill each other to reduce the population.
Up with that? Like the conspiracy? That's.
It was a pretty solid put together. They looked at like different patents from the CIA documents. They looked at different patents. They looked at CIA documents, and then they just sort of like made this whole thing up. And you know, like respect to those people who do these conspiracy theories.
Definitely, this sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I hope they at least monetize their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And get their rent paid for the work that they do.
Probably.
But it's very entertaining sometimes.
It is,
yeah.
But you got to be very careful.
Yeah. And I went through sort of like my phase when I was sort of like thinking about like what is this existence? Like there are things out there that's like very open in the conspiracy world where it's like fractional reserve banking, like I'm big into sort of like how money works in economies and the whole geopolitical things that go on. So there's a lot of those things out there where I'm like, oh, I've read books into it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is actually very evident, like we're being manipulated with our money, and the banks are actually just generating money out of thin air, so to say, and it's actually being done. So then I started like believing more and more conspiracies, and then like you eventually get to Flat Earth and this Project Blue Beam or Blue Dream or Blue Book or whatever it's called, and then you start going like some people believe it, and then I was in the case like, okay, I went pretty deep down the rabbit hole. I got to reevaluate what is true and what's not.
Yeah, and you getting sucked in there pretty quick.
Yeah.
If you believe one or one makes sense to you, then you go to the next one and it also makes sense, and it's hard.
supposedly there is one in the hip hop world
Really?
about mumble rap.
Really?
Yeah. And the imageries that's being pushed, and there was a secret meeting in LA with different label heads from like the major recording companies, Warner, Universal, and Sony. And the idea was to sort of, with the prison industrial complex, sort of instill this ideology of like being gangsta is good. And this was like in the 90s. Coincidentally, like Tupac and Biggie died on this way because I think they would actually have not encouraged gang violence or anything like that. Anyways, it's the idea that like there's that hip hop is sort of being tainted and sort of being dumbed down and steered away from sort of like conscious hip hop and more in the direction of what we just said, ignorant hip hop or mumble rap, and more talking gang banging or shooting using violence or drugs. We also had that phase during Little Peep's era and Little Xan, with like drug taking, and like the agenda was like essentially have the music industry push more that type of music.
Interesting.
And
You believe that?
after listening to, there's this one dude, I forgot his name. He presented some very, very good evidence of why that is happening, and supposedly they're in the making of a Netflix documentary about that whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it really wouldn't surprise me too much if like American politicians, the prison complex comes together, the prison system comes together, the U.S. government comes together, the music industry, or aka entertainment industry, comes together to sort of put in a certain agenda. Like there's a lot of like sketchy stuff that goes on.
Definitely. But I mean, it would make sense, and it would not surprise me because there's this. I don't know, the whole prison system, especially in the States, is like a super sketchy thing. Especially I don't want to put like half research facts out there.
1/3 of black men end up in at least jail or getting arrested.
Yeah, and the whole thing that the prison system started around the time when slavery was banished.
Yeah,
and then like the whole crack cocaine thing, which is proven now.
Yeah,
like that they put out crack cocaine in the communities and everything, and that
which was also like the CIA supported drug cartels, so the drug cartels would fight communist regimes, and they gave them drugs, so they would push the drugs into the U.S. and
see, and then also the one thing where the police was founded from the people that used to like watch over slaves or something, and it was apparently the same people at the beginning, like the people who was controlling the slaves. They just founded the police, and then they just did the same thing basically in another way.
That's sort of like one that I didn't research too much into, but that actually is somewhat true. That there was like these slave patrols, and I took a criminal justice class in high school, thought it was super, super cool, and learned about policing history, and it came from the UK, the idea that you need a sort of police and to protect people, and that was going on, that has been going on for many centuries, but like what we see as modern policing was going on in the 1800s, and came from the UK to the US, and then was sort of overtaken by those slave patrol, because the slave patrols definitely exist, and they have the same badge shape as your sheriff department.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So if you keep all those things in mind, then it's not too far away, like to this conspiracy theory about like mumble rap and all that. It's not too unrealistic.
And that's sort of like where I'm at, and it's sort of like I just hope it isn't true, but I also believe it just sort of naturally always happens.
Definitely.
Where it's sort of like because what people from the hoods in America are rapping about, they're actually rapping about their situation. And then of course you need gatekeepers. You probably know a lot about gatekeepers. Like there's just somebody who's there at the record label and is like can pick and choose, and it's like if you have an in with the gatekeeper, you can push it in an agenda.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's something that happens naturally, and also like the whole thing of violence and it being interesting and all that stuff, that's nothing new. I mean, that's just I feel like it's human nature, unfortunately, that violence and being like winning fights and fighting in general, that's just, I feel like there's something that's grounded in human nature. So it's not something that people have to make up. But in terms of pushing it into people's faces and to making it even more prominent and stopping people from realizing that there's other ways, or that other ways may be more efficient or more beneficial to human race, that's something that gatekeepers could do.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't have the reputation to be speaking about it or understanding of it. So pretty much everything that I said can be taken as bullshit.
Yeah.
Just fair warning if somebody takes the...
Don't take anything you heard here seriously, except for those things that I said about myself. That's very serious.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just mind games.
Yeah. It's all mine. It's all mental. There's also a pretty cool quote I would like to share with you that I came across that I also put on my Instagram, but it's the idea that your thoughts become words, your words become actions, your actions become habits, your habits become character, your character becomes destiny.
Yeah. Facts.
And we're
just basically manifesting.
Yeah. All manifesting. Do you practice anything, trying to manifest anything?
Not, I don't know where manifesting starts and dreaming begins. I realized that I do a lot of the things I think about are things I want to reach in the future, goals I want to reach, but I don't know if that's, I mean, there's this practice of manifesting where you sit down and you really like manifest certain things. I never did that, but I feel like constantly thinking about it, or like writing it down as your goals or something, that's manifesting too, and I definitely do that.
Cool.
Do you manifest?
Yeah, I have a few mantras out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I repeat them daily.
Can you share one of them?
Yeah. So one of them that I remind myself every single day of is my big dream of to travel the world, to discover, share, make music. So
that's beautiful.
And that's like the big vision. And right now I'm just caught up. I've seen the next step of what I need to get done. So I say money comes to me easily and effortlessly.
Oh, that's a good one. I heard about that.
Yeah, and that one's a very, very solid one. Like I ended up receiving in the mail 72 euros.
What?
Yeah.
Just randomly in cash.
No, it was something that I completely forgot about. And it was like so when I was building this bus here, I was going to Globus. I was going always to this one Baumarkt to get all my supplies, and I had this membership card, and I would just keep scanning it. And I just scanned it because I picked, like, for example, I pick up any place where I can accumulate points on a regularly, where I usually go. I'll go pick up points. Don't know what it leads to, but it obviously led to me getting 72 euros in the mail.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Or a random call from somebody like, hey, somebody just quit this job for us. Can we just freelance you for a little while until we figure out this solution? And it's like right as like my bank account's going pretty low, and I'm like, oh shit, all right, cool. And then just like say, all right, well, thank you, universe. Money does come to me easily and effortlessly. Or I'll be sometimes a little bit over dramatic, and like there was this one time where I was at a intersection coming to a red light in my car, and there's a Red Bull can and an empty Red Bull can directly next to my car. So I was like, thanks to the universe for giving me this opportunity of picking up that Red Bull can, because that's 25 cents. That's me working with the universe, of me appreciating every single thing that the universe gives me.
Yeah, I get that.
Another mantra that I have is there there are no more boundaries en route to my manifestation.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because then you're just like removing blockades, and then when you hit a blockade, you're immediately like, oh shit, I got no boundaries, this isn't a blockade.
Yeah, that's the mindset. Yeah, I get that.
So there's like things like that. Yeah. And then there's a recent thought I had about mantras is maybe we don't need to be reminding ourselves too much of it. We should focus maybe a little bit on it and mention it to the universe, but eventually let it go, and it will supposedly come faster. So I'm now at the point of, I do my mantras, I give it small attention that it deserves. I also practice gratitude anytime one of my things manifest. Always show gratitude for it, because that's you telling the universe, hey, bring more.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try not to think too much of it, and yeah, I'll see how that goes and everything.
That's cool. But I mean, so far it sounds like it's working.
Yeah.
You just got to see the right things.
That's very true. And that's really it. It's all about perspective.
Right.
So many people don't realize that there's so many opportunities in front of them because they don't see it as opportunities.
Yeah, it's just it's a mindset that you got to incorporate to really see what you could be doing. And that's why a lot of people that have like this negative mindset, it's a lot of times they just don't get anywhere. And it's all because that's I mean, a lot of people always say it's all about mindset and everything's happening in your head, and a lot of things is happening in your head, but it's mostly that you don't see what you could do better, because you could do different.
You're so caught up in your head. Yeah.
It's not that you always happy, or you, I don't know, you have a stronger mind than everybody else, but most of the times it's just to see things that other people don't see.
Yeah.
Which is also music wise or creatively the one advantage that probably successful people have.
Yeah.
To see the things that other people don't see. And it's that is also, I wouldn't even consider it a talent to see these things. It's just something you can program yourself to.
You practice, and you also put yourself on the illusion. Like, all right, for example, here could be the paradox in this all. We're sitting here thinking we're like spiritually developing and everything. Maybe we're just convincing ourselves of that, only to become better versions of ourselves.
But I mean, the outcome is the same thing.
Yeah,
you become the better version.
Yeah,
if it's you doing that, if it's the universe doing that, in the end, that doesn't matter, right?
No, I don't see it mattering. But then it's like it maybe takes the fun out of it, for some.
Because you don't know if it's the universe.
Yeah, so some people like to believe in the magic of the universe.
But then do that.
Yeah, and some people also like to believe in the accountability of themselves, and that's the whole. Everybody has their own journey.
Yeah, as long as you're not interfering with other people's journeys. That's if you want to believe in the magic of the universe, then do that, and it will be magic.
Yeah.
As long as you don't want to tell other people how they should think, because then you get frustrated because they maybe other people don't believe in the magic of the universe, and they also have good things happening to them, maybe the same things that happen to you.
Yeah.
And then you start to disbelieve. So it's all about like your perspective, if you watch it from your point of view, or if you like compare yourself to other people, which is my personal worst enemy.
Is comparing yourself to others?
I do that all the time.
Ouch.
Social media is a great tool, but it fucks up my mind so much, and I don't know. I'm working on it very hard for like a year or two, ever since I realized that I do that, and I still do it.
Yeah.
I still see people on social media, see people around me, and realize that the first instinctive thought that I have is envy or jealousy.
Yeah.
And it's happening so much, and I realize, and I see that I'm moving in the right direction because I recognize the thoughts, and sometimes they're not happening, but they still happen. after 2 years of knowing about them.
Yeah. Damn. Here's maybe a flip. Or do you want to finish or something?
No.
All right. Cool. Here's sort of like a flip. Like you could see it as envy, or you can see it as inspiration for like what you want.
Actually, yeah, probably that's the one solution that works, but it's still a hard thing to do because it feels different.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can't really I can't really control what I feel. If I see this picture of this rapper or whatever social media person profile it is, the first gut feeling that I have, inspiration and envy, feels a little different. And that's something that I don't even know if I can control it.
Okay.
At some point.
Maybe tweak it into something that's like becomes more competitive.
That's the in second thought, and in like long term I do that and it works.
Cool.
But I feel I still like the first instinctive reaction is still a bad energy one, and I know it's a bad energy one. Maybe I'm telling myself that. Maybe I'm putting myself down too much. That I have this, that the initial reaction I have is a negative one. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know either. And you clearly don't know.
I mean, it's a hard thing to do, but I'm grateful that I realize these thoughts, and that I know that I want to switch comparing into inspiration.
Yeah.
And that's just the journey, I guess.
Yeah, that's all part of it, man. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and start wrapping this up.
That was great, a great closing.
That I definitely think so. We've been at it for 2 hours.
Oh my god.
Do you have any last words to the people?
Collab, don't compare.
Collab, don't compare. Very nice. You want to give out your social media handles?
I do. It's I guess it's Ashy does it at everywhere. I just recently changed it because I changed my name, but it's Ashy does it everywhere. Also on Spotify and all the streaming services, it's Ashy. Yeah, connect, reach out to me, DM me about your spiritual things that you want to talk about. If it's collaboration, music wise, art wise, I'm open for everything. I just want to like work with a lot of people and inspire and get inspired.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much, Ashy.
Thank you for having me.
All right. It was a pleasure. Much success to you on your journey and everything. I'm looking forward to seeing where you end up. Cool. Thank you for tuning in.